Good morning everybody, welcome to Stockradar Stocks on the Move for another week. Today's date is the 14th of September 2023. My name is Richard Lee and I manage the stockradar.com.au website for you. Okay, our focus today is on the rocket stocks and relentless dedication to our strategy. We've had a tough couple of years and this is testing us at the moment, these last periods. In a bull market, the chances of hitting a big one is greater than in a bear market. In a bear market, we have big winners, but they can be offset by many small losses that will occur in a bull market, and that does restrain returns, and that's what happens. But the tide will turn, as we know, it always does. Inevitably, amongst some of those losses, there will be a big one, which is just what you must be able to keep away from, whether it be ASX or Ramsay Health. These stocks are dive. You just need to be out of those. Stop loss processes help you with that. So while unpleasant in the short term, it is through these periods that we are reminded, through these difficult periods, that we're reminded that equity market drawdowns and instances of acute volatility, I'm talking about Aurora, Sims Group, Ramsay Health, ResMed, ASX. This is the price that equity investors have to pay in order to achieve superior returns over the longer term. Now that's what Phil King from Regal says. Now he's aware that these things occur in the market, and it really is a period where we need to knuckle down and look after our stocks and look after our strategy, because that really does test us these times. So be true to your strategy always, no matter what. You set a strategy to trade the market. There will be good times and bad times. We need to deal with those. So there's actually an interesting article this week on Market Index, I think, talking about should you invest in stocks making new all-time highs. So that's something you might want to have a look at. It's an interesting article. It just throws up a few ideas and a few sort of thoughts for you. Just from another person, just to give you an idea of how they're thinking. So all I really care about is building long-term equity growth, and a big part of that is capital preservation. There are a lot of stocks going down the gurgle at the moment, and we need to make sure we're not exposed to these stocks, because they really are portfolio killers. And that we do capture the rocket stocks, which are also occurring. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. Okay, alrighty. So the rocket stocks, you can see a few of them there. We've got a few of those, which has been very handy. Okay, now, top 10 trend intensity ratings this week. We've got car sales, which is just booming at the moment. Goodman Group's going okay. Seven Group Holdings is motoring along. You can see some of those stocks in there. Altium's made new highs. Oz Brokers, BK Brickworks has made a good kick higher. So that's our top 10 at the moment, and the FANG's there as well, which is sort of lurking there. So that's our top 10 trend intensity ratings at the moment. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the markets. And let's kick off with the Dow Jones, and we don't have a lot of information for you in the Dow Jones this week, because not a lot's happened over the last week or so. So we can just see it's just hovering there, just above that area of support. I'm looking for it to hold at the moment, which it is holding. Sellers are certainly giving the market a bit of a work over there. So, you know, it's in this area. We know about this debate going on. Will it make new highs? Will it collapse? Who knows? Many people are calling the inevitability of a recession. Well, inevitability means probably not going to happen. But anyway, that's just my take on things when I read things in the news. Okay, S&P 500. Similar thing, we're just sitting there lurking below those lows at the moment. Still constructive, the trend is intact, there's no real problem there. Nasdaq's the same. It's had a bounce up, it's come back and found a bit of support here. It's now starting to rally again. The uptrend's intact. Volume here has been good. We've had a good selling test here. We had a good move down here and it's recovered a bit. Momentum stays positive, so we still err on the positive side there of those indices for the moment. Copper still lurks, still goes down. Each rally seems to get knocked on the head and just needs to be lower highs all the time. So while that's intact, we know what we do: lower highs, lower lows. We stay away. Comex Gold. Well, it's just hovering there. I don't really know what's going to happen there. It's struggling there. It doesn't want to go down, doesn't want to go up. So I just really need more information, more guidance on whether there's going to be a trend developed there or not. At the moment, it's not. So we just hang on there for the moment. Alternative, we've got Brent crude, which actually is. And we can see here we've had a nice little move up here. We've moved through this R1 area. We're still holding it. We've got some reasonably good volume. Momentum is just starting to turn in a positive area. So, you know, Brent crude may have a little more of a rally yet. So we could maybe see it up around here, up around near the $100 area at some stage. And then, of course, up 120, which is the highs there. So Brent crude looks all right at the moment. Okay, so now to the markets, we've done that. Okay, so now let's just go to the ASX 200. Favourite little which again tells us nothing. There's nothing much happening here at all. It's just sitting there hovering. We have good weeks of optimism, then we get knocked on the head when we suddenly think the market's going down again. So we're having a bit of an odd week this week, not really telling us much at all. So the ASX 200 sits there, momentum is flat, nothing's happening there. Pick your stocks rather than the index at the moment, if you like. That's how I'm looking at things. Okay, so that is the overseas markets. Now, what I might just go into now is have a look at the stock big count is down 4, so we lost 4 last week, down to 45. Okay, so we've got 32 stock picks of 161, 9 ETFs, so still 32 stock picks of 161 is not many, but we do have a few good ones in the Borals and the Pro Medicus and James Hardys and those sorts of things are all doing nicely. So we're thankful for those stocks, they still exist. Portfolios, we're doing okay, in fact. Conservative portfolio is still 5 out of 10. It's 50% equities cash. On all the other energizers, apart from the 10 stock, are full at 5 out of 5. So we're just sort of, floating between 4 and 5 at the moment on those portfolios. But they're doing okay, just holding our head above water at the moment, waiting for the big run whenever that's going to happen. So that's what's happening with the ASX 200 at the moment. So now I think we can probably get into some stocks. First, I'll just starting off with the leaders, and we know what Cochlear has done. We talk about that article I mentioned before about stocks hitting all-time highs. That's exactly what Cochlear has done. Trend intensity rating of 9. It's come back a little bit this week, but it looks fine there. Volume on the break was good, momentum was good, so it all looks pretty good. So that's the main leader one. There's not a lot else in the leaders. You've got your James Hardy, Aristocrat, Brambles, Goodman, Gold, but none of the miners, none of the banks, none of those are doing anything at the moment. So that's why our ASX 200 is going sideways. Okay, now trend reversals, my favourite, one of my favourites. Trend reversals are new highs. Okay, let's just go to Seek. Now we've got car sales and RIA Group motoring along, but something's happened with Seek. Now normally these stocks move pretty well in tandem, but we've got a real problem here with Seek. We can see that we've got a fairly constructive trend reversal pattern here. We've got a series of highs across here and a series of upslanding lows here, which gives us our trend reversal pattern. What we need is the break of this. Now we seem to be a long way off this at the moment, but we have come down to the bottom end of this trading range here, this uptrend line here, and hopefully some support will come in here just to validate this trend reversal pattern and keep it alive. We're certainly getting a workout from the sellers here, but we are holding this little uptrend, this little upward sloping line for the moment. So that's a good sign, I think, for Seek. But certainly, there's certainly more work to be done there. Trend intensity rating is still -5, but the pattern still exists. And as I say, it's moving a bit out of lockstep with the other ones there. So, but certainly worth keeping an eye on there is Seek at the moment. Okay, so we've got some good prospects in there, 4 or 5 good prospects from Seek, which has done well, and we've got one trend reversal here, which has been performing very, very well, which is Magellan Global Fund. It's just been a steady rise on steady volume, and this volume's even getting greater at the moment. So this stock is looking very healthy for a good test. We're moving on the objective of about 190 this week. So for those of you who've got into that one, that's been a nice little rally, that one from our entry point down to 150. It's now about 173. Okay, so that's Magellan Global Fund. A little bit about trend reversals. What new highs have we got? Okay, well, firstly, we're going to look at our prospect, which is Woodside, and people are probably wondering, we've got this crude oil price which is rallying, but we've not got any movement from Woodside really of late, and we know really why that is, because, let me just get this over here. Okay, so you can see Woodside there. This is what we've got, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5, 6, nearly 6 years worth of trading, and this is a big resistance area up here which is holding the stock at the moment. So we're trying to get through here. The positive sign is we've got some upsloping buying going on here, so there is some demand pushing here. The oil price is pushing harder, but for the moment there are a few problems with Woodside, I've got to say, and that might just be hampering this break, but it'll be cleared up once it does break. If it does break, then things will be off, but for the moment it hasn't done that, so it just goes on the prospect list, the watch list. We keep an eye on that one for the moment. Okay, so that's Woodside. Now the other one I wanted to look at was really Brambles, which is, we know we've been watching this one for a while, but it has been performing. Sorry, that's 7 Group. We've got a Brambles. We can just see here it's come back a bit this week, but it is holding very nicely. The profit report was a good report and good volume. There's nothing really as far as serious selling is going on here. We've got a new high here, which we like. Of course, trend intensity rating is +9, so hold your fire with this one. It looks good. Everything's moving in the right direction, so stay with Brambles, I think, for the moment. Okay, so that's Brambles. We then can look at, well, there's another one here that, so as far as all-time highs goes, there's plenty of prospects out there at the moment, looking from Paladin, Sandfire, AP Eagers and NXT. There's a whole lot of them there we're waiting for that haven't done it yet. So we'll just have to keep an eye on those ones. There's about 10 to 15 on my watch list at the moment for there. One that has done very well, it's one of these rocket stocks. Along with things like car sales, 7 group holdings, it just keeps making new high after new high, and has done for probably for the last 10 weeks or so. It's made new highs there, but you can see here the trend reversal down the bottom here. It cleared up the new high, and it's now 9 weeks up. The trend intensity rating is 10. Trend unfolds on excellent volume and momentum. So everything's there fine. 7 group can still go much higher than it is at the moment. So we just follow this trend with our trailing stop, and that will keep it safe. We've got a nice profit to lock in there. Okay, the other prospect I've got on this one here, which we've seen before, is NXT. I just keep monitoring these stocks. I'll bring them back to you because eventually we will see a break, but it hasn't happened yet. But we just watch them, and I try and educate you as to how I do things and how I approach things. At the moment, I'm just waiting on NXT. It's looking very good. We've got some good volume here, and then, of course, as we approach the highs here, some sellers start to appear, and momentum just toughens off a little bit as the gain gets a bit slower. But it's still very much a prospect, because we do know when NXTC does move, it does move. It's certainly in that space. Everyone's very interested in it at the moment, so just keep an eye on that one for yourselves. Okay, now the other ones we've really got here are Fleet Partners, is one little stock, which I think I mentioned recently in the newsletter. I think it's a little stock that's been an interesting stock. It's made a new high here. It's come back a bit this week, but that's okay. We've got some fantastic volume down here, some fantastic momentum. So when we have a bad week, don't worry about it too much, because it's only 1 week, and everything else looks pretty good here. The trend intensity rating is 10 for Fleet Partners. The volume and everything is all good. So we're really looking for this break up here, resumption of the uptrend. And often, to look for a move, the distance of the trading range often gives you a guide as to where it might be headed. Purely a guide, but my saving grace is my trailing stop, okay, which I'll have in there. So that's Fleet Partners, an interesting stock that is out of my data universe, but it just gives you an idea. And it looks very good there with all the volume and the momentum there, pushing the stock higher. Okay, so just briefly, I just want to go through... we talked about rocket stocks. I just want you to have a quick look at them because they are fantastic. Look at car sales. It's just going up and up and up from making those new highs. We had a bit of a wobble here, but it really is kicking high. It's in great volume and some great price acceleration. This is why we love the stock market. Okay, Boral's the same sort of thing, really. It's had a big change the last few weeks, so we've got to be a bit careful about this one because it's come off from the highs of $5. And now the trend is okay, but we're certainly seeing some selling hit this market here, and the momentum's just starting to tail off here. So what do we do in these situations? Well, it's where your stop is. It's the key thing, okay? So we've got a stop set in here. It's on the trading center. You can see exactly where the stop is for Boral, but we need to make sure we protect the profit that we've got because this is a rocket stock. It's made a lot of money for us. Broke above $3. It got to $5, which is a great run for us. It's come back a bit, I know, but that doesn't matter. That's how we work. We wait for these things to come off. We never sell into a rising market, never buy into a falling market, okay? We're always just a follower either way. So Boral, still trend intensity rating of 8. See what happens at the end of the week as where it finishes compared to our stop. Another stock we've got, another rocket stock, Promedicus, which has also made all-time highs and is looking very, very good indeed. We've got some good volume here. Momentum's good. It's above the average. It's made a new high. Trend intensity rating is +8. James Hardie, the same thing. It was a trend reversal to kick this one off, but it keeps going higher. Okay, fine. It's had a good week this week, but who hasn't? There's been some selling appeared here. Then it made a new high, and the sellers have come back a little bit here. Not too bad, but it is being challenged at the moment. But I would still think with James Hardie being normally a very good trending stock, ultimately will reach up to this area here at some stage. Okay. So that's James Hardie, and the final one I've got is BlueScope Steel, it's been a rocket stock, but it's been a bit of a bumpy ride, especially the last few weeks. We had a really good break up here above $17. It got to just above 21 and ran into trouble. Now, the selling hasn't been huge here, but the price drop this week's been a bit far. So once again, a bit like Boral, know where your stop is, because that will answer your question as to whether you stay in that stock or get out of that stock. Okay, so there's just a few of those rocket stocks I want to talk to you about, because they really are important. In the end, that's where we make our money. We do take losses, we do take profits, small ones, but really, and we don't take big losses. So it's the big returns, it's the big wins that really make our money. So it's important that they're there, and there are stocks there at the moment. Even though we've only got 32 stock picks in all, there are 6 or 7 rocket stocks that are doing really nicely. Okay, so that's for that. I just want to go through this briefly again in my little trading tactics talk. Rocket stocks, the combination of a trend, momentum, and new highs is almost an unarguable equation. It's a wicked and powerful combination. Okay. Doesn't always work, but more often than not it does, and this is when we get the good kicks high. Look, like car sales, like Boral, all those stocks that really are in there. And although you can have one big stock in there in a portfolio of 5, you can have 5 other stocks that are middling. As long as you've got that one big one, you're still going to make some money and some returns. So the market is still delivering, but each one needs to be managed carefully. Looking at Boral, looking at what's the last one we looked at? James Hardie, BlueScope Steel, all looking to areas that may test their stops. If they do, we need to lock in that profit and not let it escape. So there are losses that we do, but we've got to manage those out. But there are also successes which need to be maximised. So that's really important. That's what the trading strategy is. Lower your risk, maximise your profits. Okay, so management is the key in all this. It's all really management. This is what happens. If my stop is hit, I get out of it, and that's it, and I move on. And we look at things like ResMed, some of the stocks that have continued down since our stop loss. Qantas is probably another one, which we've got out of a while ago. It's now having a bit of a tail off. So you just got to really manage these stocks, no matter what you think. You've got to be very careful. It's about managing your money, not eking a little bit more profit out of it, anything like that. It's just a matter of if the market says sell, you sell. Okay, so that drives the best outcomes for you. So don't doubt your strategy. Now, this is a difficult time that's really challenging us at the moment. It's really testing. But you can see in my portfolio page, we've come back a bit over the last couple of years, but I can't do much about that because that's what the market delivers. But the market generally delivers an uptrend over time, and that's where my bias always sits. So I don't doubt the strategy because the outcome wasn't perfect. It never will be. And that's on every stock we trade. Okay, so as I said on the homepage of my website, in the bull market I make money, in the bear market I stay safe. So that's my strategy, trying to trade momentum on the upside for my strategy, and that's for how I get into my rocket stocks. Okay, so that is really all I've really got for you today. Rocket stocks stand out, head and shoulders above them all. You'll have a smattering of smaller profits and small losses, and that is the cost of trading. Okay, they matter little. What's important are the rocket stocks and how we trade with discipline and poise. We need them because they are our returns. They are our returns, these stocks. Okay, all the other offsetting stocks, really not interested in. It's these main ones, and they're important. Okay, so that's all I've really got for you today. I hope you found it interesting. Stay safe, watch your trends, heed your stops, and if you need to have a chat, give me a call. I'm always available to have a bit of a chat. So I look forward to seeing you all next week, and thanks for listening. See you later.